Welcome back to the Ed Show. Republicans are still creating a lot of nonsense in their war against President Obama in the fast and furious standoff. Congressman Darrell Issa has now sent a letter to the President of the United States challenging the President's exertion of executive privilege. Your privilege assertion means one of two things, Mr. President. Either you or most of your senior advisors were involved in managing Operation Fast and Furious and the fallout from it, or you are asserting a presidential power that you know to be unjustified solely for the purpose of further obstructing a congressional investigation. Funny how Darrell Issa wasn't alleging a cover-up just 2 days ago.
Do you have any evidence that White House officials were involved in these decisions, that they knowingly misled Congress and are involved in a cover-up?
No, we don't. And what we're seeking are documents we know to exist February 4th to December that are, in fact, about Brian Terry's murder, who knew, and why people were lying about it.
I just want to be clear. We got to get out. No evidence at this point that the White House is involved in a cover-up.
And I hope that they don't get involved.
All right. So the Republicans love to do this stuff, stir the pot as often as they can with outright lies. Senator John Kyle took a statement further. He says the bipartisan comprehensive immigration reform bill I helped draft in 2007 was killed in part by then Senator Obama. Folks, that simply is not true. Then Senator Obama voted in favor of Bush's 2007 immigration plan, and Kyle was part of the filibuster against it. Now Senator Kyle has tossed out the impeachment word in talking about the president's immigration policy.
If the president insists on continuing to ignore parts of the law that he doesn't like and simply not enforce that law, the primary remedy for that is political. And you have it two ways. One, oversight through the Congress to demonstrate what they're doing wrong. And the other part of it is the people need to react through the ballot box to turn out of office those people who are not doing their duty. Now, if it's bad enough and if there are shenanigans involved in it, then of course impeachment is always a possibility, but I don't think at this point anybody's talking about that.
Well, you are a senator. You're doing it on right-wing radio in America. Who listens to that? The head-nodding crowd. Yeah, they're going to impeach him, Obama. That's where they get this stuff. Let's turn to Sam Stein, political reporter for the Huffington Post. Sam, good to have you with us. You know, that's just how they turn in those circles, if you know what I mean.
Impeachment? No one's mentioning impeachment. Did I mention impeachment?
I thought I'd ask you if you've heard any impeachment rumors up on the Hill today. All right.
Nothing like that.
All right. The contempt vote on Eric Holder is going to be in the full House coming up on Thursday. Yeah. And Congressman Issa is doing his best, of course, to whip this up. Even though he admitted on Fox that he has no evidence of a cover-up. So what do you make of this conversation?
Well, it's sort of the presumption of guilt with the recognition of innocence, right? I mean, on the one hand, they acknowledge that they have no evidence that shows that the administration was involved in this, but they're searching for evidence that was there. The thing that they're willfully ignoring, or at least it seems that they're ignoring, is that the Attorney General cannot exercise the right of executive privilege. He must request that right from the President himself. And so when the President exercised that right, it was part of the process. It wasn't some sort of malicious or sinister attempt to cover it up, at least according to the White House. That's an important thing to actually know when you're looking at this, because there was no way to exercise executive privilege without bringing the President into the matter. To then turn around and say, well, that's part of the President's cover-up, is sort of to willfully misconstrue the actual process of exercising executive privilege.
All right, Sam, we've heard Congressman Issa say that he thinks he's going to have bipartisan support for this contempt vote.
Yeah.
What Democrats are in the halls of Congress saying, you know what, we got to reel in the Attorney General here. He's in contempt. What Democrats are going to vote for this?
It's a bit more complicated now because the National Rifle Association has decided that they're going to score this vote. And that, of course, is putting a lot of pressure on some of these Democrats who live in moderate or conservative-leaning districts where there are a lot of very passionate gun rights owners to cast a vote. So we have one report out this afternoon that Jim Matheson of Utah is leaning towards doing voting yes on a contempt vote because of this.
The NRA, the folks that scared the heck out of the Wisconsinites that Tom Barrett was going to take their firearm, now they're right back in it on the contempt vote. John McCain has suggested a special prosecutor for national security leaks. Is the White House seriously concerned about that?
Not that I'm picking up. They've denied it vehemently that they would leak this stuff intentionally. They pointed out that it's a New York Times reporter who could very well have had good sources and uncover the information on his own.
Yeah.
And, you know, this process is going to play out over time, and we'll see what exactly was happening here. But, of course, leaking this type of stuff is a problem if it was done with the intent of bolstering up the president's credentials and national security. But we've seen no evidence yet to suggest that that was the case, except for assertions that it maybe was the case.
Sam, great to have you with us here on The Ed Show. I think that there's going to be a real political fallout for the Republicans if they go down this road of a vote of contempt on the Attorney General. We shall see. Coming up, a major American city is burning to the ground, but tonight there is hope. And Grammy Award-winning artist Mark Anthony is performing at a fundraiser for President Obama tonight. Later, he joins me to talk about politics and the power of the Latino vote this year.